Here we are, back again. I don't think much has changed, except for one thing. So I ended up having to sort of redistribute reinforced iron plates over here. So originally I had a splitter coming off of this, and I didn't consider that because I had only put in enough reinforced iron plates to exactly feed both machines, but both machines weren't going to finish at the same time. The result was that this one finished first on versatile frames, and so it ended up absorbing more reinforced iron plates than it needed. There were 100 stacked up in there that weren't being used, and so I ended up putting some back in here and running the line direct over to this one to make sure we don't get any more funny business with it. And yeah, we are getting quite close to being finished here. Yeah, 57 remaining. I think that's correct, because that should be 800, 900. And then, yeah, now 56 remaining. So yeah, coming along very nicely. I did want to start thinking about hypertubes. Hypertubes are something that I haven't really explored previously. Let's see, we've got 3 fix-it coupons there. Yeah, as you can see, I put in some more resources, though I don't know that it's going to push us up to 4 coupons. Well, we shall see. So a lot of my ideas on what to do with hypertubes come from another person's video that I came across some time ago, waiting for 1.0 to come out. I'll be sure to reference that if I implement some of their designs. But I guess first, let's go check out the MAM for hard drive research. Okay, steel screw, interesting. Yeah, the rate of production on that is crazy high. 260 per minute. So let's see. Normally, you would turn rods into screws. 1 to 4, or cast screws 5 to 20. So that's every ingot produces 4 screws. And then steel is made from 4 ingots. And I'm pretty sure steel is 1-to-1 with iron, but it also consumes coal. So it's a little difficult to work out how exactly this compares in terms of resource consumption. But I am interested in unlocking all of the steel alternative recipes. Going straight from steel to all of the iron products seems interesting to me, and I enjoyed it last time around. So I figure I'll give that a try. And let's actually go back in there to the hard drive library. Let's see, we've got molded steel pipe and iron wire. So yeah, iron wire doesn't seem especially interesting to me. Molded steel pipe, so that's increasing the rate and efficiency by adding in concrete. Interesting. And then back here, no rescans remaining. Bolted iron plate. Because the default here is slower. does require more screws. Okay, let's do a rescan on this one, see what we get. Okay. Interesting. So that's making motor production much more complex in exchange for much better efficiency and speed. Oh, no, it's not better efficiency, it's worse efficiency, because it's the same ratio, but you're adding in a crystal oscillator. Again, I'm drawn to the steel recipes. I haven't researched enough to know if this is the best choice, but going 1 steel ingot to 4 rods at a faster rate seems potentially interesting to me. It does mean that all my iron has to get converted into steel, but that's kind of what I'm looking for. Steel is just so useful. I feel like having an excess of steel production is never wasted. In terms of other research, I think we're stalled out on this until I unlock computer components. And here I just need way more Mercer spheres. And at this point, those Mercer spheres might be better spent actually building dimensional depots. That was something I hadn't really realized, but if you look at the, what is it under? I think it's under organization. If you look at the recipe for the dimensional depot, every single one does require a Mercer sphere to build, so definitely have to keep that in mind, and, maybe not sink a bunch into that research too early. Okay. This I haven't unlocked. What is that? Like polymer resin, I think. And this. That's something I could make. I don't know if I'm interested in a gas nubelisk, to be honest. So I haven't rushed that out. And here, you are locked behind plastic. Okay. And computers further up the chain. Power slugs. Oh yeah, you're way out. Heat sinks, I think. I think heat sinks are something you can make in this. I feel like I've heard them mentioned, but I don't think I've ever built them. I should work on quartz. I feel like I'm sort of behind on everything to do with quartz. I'm hoping soon to be able to automate that, because I think quartz crystal... Yeah, okay, I can make that just in a constructor. No issues. And then raw quartz can also be used to make silica. So I'm going to have to keep that in mind. Okay. Just to remember. Yes, plastic. Oh, we could get this. Experimental power generation. Let's see.
Research completed. Experimental power generation research options are now available. These may enhance performance of other fuel sources.
Interesting. I can't believe that takes a hard drive. That is an interesting requirement. I'm really hesitant to give up a hard drive. Compacted coal. So I think that's just like a more energy efficient form of coal. Oh, this also requires a hard drive, okay. I do think turbo fuel is going to be something we want to go into at some point, though, so clearly I am going to have to spend these hard drives. Probably not yet, though. Not until we actually get to the point of wanting to make turbo fuel will I bother to expend hard drives for that. At least that's my thinking. Alright. Oh yes, and I think I did also shut down my this tractor that was pulling in reanimated Sam. At least for now, I don't really have a use for all of this reanimated Sam that's starting to back up here. And the truck was, I haven't properly hooked it up to a fuel line, so it was running out of fuel, and figured it was better just to leave it idle for a bit and rethink what I want to do there. Okay. Well, maybe we can start thinking about hypertubes. Okay, steel pipes, copper sheets, encased industrial beams. Glad we're making those. Only needed for the entrances. Stackable hypertube supports. Okay, cool. So I do want to do some experimenting with hypertubes. So let's just go ahead and start building a basic hypertube. And yeah, sort of like a pipe or a belt. You can see it extends out. And yeah, can be placed much like a pipe. Yeah, including the same build modes for it. So how do I want to demonstrate this? Let's first, like, go down. Oh yeah, that's going to be an awkward angle. So what I'm trying to sort of prove out here, because I'm pretty certain that's how it works, is that hypertubes will actually, like, take height into account. As in, you will gain momentum going downhill and lose it going uphill. So yeah, the tubes themselves don't consume power, but the entrances do. Stackable hypertube support, hypertube entrance. There we go. So once I hook this up to power, you'll see it starts vacuuming in from outside. And now, if I jump near it, I'll start racing through these hypertubes. And you can see I'm going pretty fast, and I think I'll speed up. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a noticeable speed up. Going downhill, and then slow back down, going uphill. And yeah, as you can see, once you start going higher than you started, I mean, I don't know if that's a hard and fast rule, but, you know, sort of logically, that's how I think about it. You start to lose a lot of energy. You'll never stop. You'll never get stuck in a hypertube. But once you get down to that slowest rate of travel, it's actually quite slow. It's still faster than walking, but not by a whole lot. Ooh, that was a weird parachute visual thing there. But yeah, conversely, going downhill. Yeah, now we're down to about as slow as you go, and this feels pretty walkable. Yeah. So, I have never really used hypertubes, and part of the reason for that is the fact that you lose so much speed when you start going uphill like that, and it's really hard to design hypertube networks such that you maintain, you know, optimal speed through them. That is, unless you're using an approach which I have previously avoided, which is, what would you call it? Like a hypertube launcher? So, my understanding is, and I don't believe that I was playing the game back when this was introduced, so I'm not the most familiar, but my understanding is that at some point after they introduced hypertubes, it was discovered that you could sort of glitch them into launching you very, very aggressively. And it was a glitch, as in, it was like a byproduct of the physics engine not being able to deal with passing through a whole bunch of hypertube entrances at once. So I'm going to try to build this from memory. Again, I will reference some other videos from somebody who I looked at to learn how to do this. And hopefully I'm building it correctly. Again, I haven't watched the video again recently, so I'm just trying to remember how it works. But, so the reason why I had avoided this previously was because it was a glitch. But my understanding is that as of update 8, which is the one that came out before this 1.0 version of the game, the developers announced that these hypertube launchers were going to be, I keep selecting the wrong component, there we go, were going to be an officially supported feature, more or less. So my understanding is that when they introduced Update 8, they broke these, and they didn't intend for that to be the case, so they actually went back in and, sort of reintroduced the glitch. I'm probably, not describing it totally correctly, but basically they've confirmed that this is something that they think is fun and that they want in the game. So the reason why I'd avoided it previously was because I kind of felt like I was cheating, and also because I was worried that they would get patched out someday. But it seems like that is not a concern anymore. Again, I might be building these wrong, but the point is to have a whole series of entrances that pull you through from one to the other very rapidly, and that causes your character to build up just an immense amount of speed. And I guess I'll just build off of this back one, and maybe just angle myself up, something like that, and that'll give us a sense of whether or not this is working. Because I feel like normally you would basically just plop out this end and barely go anywhere. So let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 entrances. Let's see how this goes. Okay. I think it's working. Thank God I've got a parachute. So yeah, that, I believe, is a hypertube launcher. I didn't really describe how I was building it because I wasn't sure if it was correct. But I am going to start thinking about actually incorporating these things. Now, I don't think... So one option for these is to just, build them just like this and launch yourself across the map through the air. I don't think that's the approach I'm going to take. Instead, what I think I'm going to do is just use these as actual hypertube networks. So I'm actually going to, build the hypertubes connecting to exactly where I want to go. But my reasoning for that is that it just feels like a little closer to the intended mechanic. I don't know. I no shade against people who build hypertube launchers and launch themselves across the map. The point is to have fun. But I'm more interested in building these, like, contained hypertube networks to take me exactly where I want to go, with no issues, but just way, way, way faster than you would otherwise go. Look at me race up this hill. Oh my gosh. And still had quite some momentum left at the end. So that's the intent. That's what I'm planning to do, at least so far, is to basically just use those launcher mechanisms to ensure that I'm traveling through my hypertube lines as fast as possible, and not ever having to worry about, like, going up a hill and slowing down to walking speed, for example. We'll see. I might change my mind on things. But, oh yeah, and just to confirm that it is noticeably faster with that launcher at the front, I think that it'll be pretty self-evident. Yeah, really slowing down at this point. Really, really, really slowing down. Yeah, I think that's pretty self-evident. Let's go check in on our space elevator parts, not get hit by that tractor there. Okay, I see that assembler has stopped. Now this is actually going to be a lot to transport out to the space elevator. I do think we have all of our components together, but it is going to be a lot to move out there. Let's just double check. I think that's 1,000 versatile frames. The automated wiring's been done for forever, and I think that's 1,000 smart plating. So very nice. Now the question is, how do I want to get it out there? Let me just build a temporary container and just store, or a couple of containers, and just store all of my inventory there. And then just take all of these, take all of these, and take all of these. Nice and easy. All fits in my inventory. All right. So yeah, this is a big milestone, completing phase 2. Only minor damage to fix it properly. All right. Let's go ahead and try to dump all of these in all at once. Go. There we go. There we go. I'll just wait for the autosave, why not? And then let's seal this up and send it off.
Welcome to the Project Assembly Pioneer Progress presentation. Congratulations, the Phase 2 project part shipment is now ready for delivery. On delivery, Phase 2 will be completed and the construction dock will be constructed. After completion of Phase 2, the technologies of Tiers 5 and 6 will become available in the hub.
Yeah.
These might feel intimidating after your previous experience, but rest assured that you would not be here if you were entirely incompetent. Highlights are oil production, railway transportation, the jetpack, and many more. Completing Phase 3 of Project Assembly is your next main objective. Just remember to focus on producing and delivering the project parts, and Fixit's faith in you will be strengthened.
I love these little introductory videos that they show between each of the phases. That is entirely new. All right. Let's go ahead and send it. love how it clears the clouds like that. There we go. Yeah, pretty greatly expanded.
Phase 2 of project assembly completed. You have been performing more adequately under pressure and are closer than ever to saving the day. Perhaps you were the right choice for the job. Time will tell. You will now enter Phase 3 of project assembly. Continue as you are, and there should be no issue. For humanity. For Fix-It.
So I think that she said that Phase 2 was adding on a construction dock or something like that. So yeah, I assume up there at the top of the space elevator at that station we're expanding, that Fix-It or Ada or whoever is preparing to build something. I have trouble imagining it's something good. Well, let's go and take a look at those new tiers and milestones, because I am very excited to see what we've unlocked. Alright, so jetpack, right away. Motors. Motors. I think I forgot all about you. Okay. Oil processing. Motors. Logistics Mark IV, which is behind oil processing. Fluid packaging, again, behind oil processing. Oh, and petroleum power. So yeah, I'm trying to decide how I want to tackle this. I don't have motors. I might resort to handcrafting, but they also might be just horrible to handcraft. That's not insignificant. I don't have statters either. Oh no. What have I done? Okay. Yeah, I would really like to unlock some of these. Yeah, that's even more motors. But yeah, trains are kind of game changers, at least I have to think, in terms of setting up complex logistic networks. Again, I've never really used them extensively, but that seems very exciting. The manufacturer, which unlocks the ability to build computers. Okay. Heavy modular frames. So yeah, how do I want to tackle this? Oh, and blueprints Mark II, even bigger blueprints. Okay. Pipes Mark II. So it seems like I should at least get some motors crafting, which means I need to get statters crafting. yeah, I do feel like basically what I'm grappling with here is that I think we're due for like a complete redesign of our factory setup. I've mentioned before I want to try building like little modular specialized factories. That is definitely not what we're doing right now, but I'm trying to decide when the appropriate time would be, basically, to try to transition into that. Because as soon as I start spreading things out, I'm like, oh man, I wish I had trains. But I also don't know that do I really need trains? I'm really in just a little tiny corner of the map at this point and have explored so little that maybe I'm putting the train before the tractor, as it were. So, maybe truck stations would be fine, but also, like, dealing with trucks would probably get a lot easier if I can make fuel, as opposed to running off of, like, biofuel or coal, because I could be using the coal for steel instead. So yeah, I think my thinking is to try to set up a line making motors to. I could just handcraft my way to this, but I feel like I should at least try to get some automated production of that going, because we're getting into the area where I think handcrafting is very heavily disincentivized. It's just so slow. So I suspect that I'll be better off even just setting up, a silly little temporary production line. Very similar to what I was doing over here. In fact, I might just repurpose it, since I've already got an assembler making statters. If I recall correctly, I think that was you. Yes, expecting steel pipe and wire. So I could just switch you to motors, I believe. I don't see why not. So it expects 10 statters per minute, which is double this production. Again, I can always pull some power shard nonsense for that, though. Yeah, I do love having excess power shards available, just sitting around. And excess power, specifically, because, yeah, once you start jamming power shards into everything, your power can really, really easily spiral out of control. But I think I have plenty, so I'm pretty sure I can just crank you up to double, so that I at least have one assembler operating as, at maximum efficiency. And then I'll just feed in required ingredients. So, let's see, it's 2-to-1 in terms of rotors and statters. So, I guess let's maybe just like plan on bringing over like 500 rotors. We've got a lot sitting around. That's a nice, easy starting number. 30 per minute, 80 per minute. Okay, so one of these has to be. Yeah, I have like no inventory. I was like, what do you mean I can't build a Mark II belt? That's ridiculous. I also could have just disassembled those straight up, but So, be color coding these things, couldn't I? This. Well, that didn't really change much at all, but that will be wire. And then. Oh, yeah, we need steel. I guess we'll just color you that. Maybe this helps. And then you will be rotors, which will just Put some red on there. At least it'll help me keep them visually apparent to some extent. So let's grab... Yeah, I think I was just spitballing like 500. And then in order to make 500 statters, we'd need 1,500 steel pipe. And like 4,000 wire? Is that right? Yeah, 4,000 wire. And did I say 750? Oh man, I'm already forgetting all my numbers. Yeah, that's 500 of these. Oh no, 1,500. 1,500, 4,000. Okay, there we go. Guess I might as well bring 1,000 over, but, oh, and I've already got some in my inventory. A couple thousand over. Should be... I put this into the wrong one. So much for my color scheme. Well, that's easily remedied. We've... this was the intended way all along. And 500 rotors into here. I just picked these numbers randomly. I don't have any specific reason for wanting 500 motors. I just figured it would be enough to keep it busy for a bit. And steel pipe. It's funny that I designed this thing to feed into the bottom one and everything, and I just end up pulling from the top instead because I land on it via parachute. Okay, so that's 800, 1,000, correct? Yeah, 5 times 200, 1,000, and then split stack should be 1,500. I keep using the right click and then not properly letting go. Okay, into here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a half. I think that's correct. So yeah, that should get production going. Oh, yeah, I'm forgetting this needs to be Mark II then, because I switched the containers. So that should keep it fed with no issue. And you produce 5 per minute. So making 500 will be 100 minutes. So just a bit over an hour and a half. An hour 40 minutes, yeah. But yeah, obviously we could also do some handcrafting. Nothing against that, trying to, knock out some of these. Because yeah, my thinking is not to start redesigning, uprooting everything until we find oil, because I think oil is going to be such a crucial component, especially to like fueling everything, running my truck networks, that sort of thing. I will need more steel pipes, of course, and more rotors. Okay. Alright, 69 motors. Perfect. Let's see how many have been made out here. Nope, didn't make it. Okay. Let's hope that gets cut out. $59. I was faster. Not there. There we go.
Milestone reached. Fix-It has granted you the power of flight, provided you have a jetpack and the appropriate fuels. The jetpack refuels automatically while you are standing on a surface, and different fuel types will affect the jetpack's functionality. With this increased versatility, you will no doubt achieve efficiency levels previously unheard of.
Yeah, I will definitely not just use that jetpack for crazy adventures. It's all for efficiency. Alright, now oil processing. So yeah, once I unlock this, I think I gain the ability to scan. Oh yeah, scannable resource. So I get the ability to scan for oil, so I can much more easily identify where oil sources are, and hopefully start planning out exactly how I want to lay out my infrastructure. I can't remember exactly how you make fuel. Yeah, there'll be a lot here that I'm relearning. Unlocking the refinery is huge, though. I think that also opens up access to a whole host of alternate recipes as well that make use of the refiner. So that is very exciting. So yeah, I talked before about how with this pure coal node down here, and a whole bunch of iron nodes just across the canyon, I was really considering building a steel plant right in this area. And then, yeah, rather than like tractoring coal all the way up here to do it, might as well just do it right down there. Are there any other coal sources that I am forgetting about? I think there's some way out here that I should consider investigating more thoroughly. Oh, okay, there, it's right there. Okay. Not up here. Now, how many of you are close to iron is another question. Okay, yeah, so all the iron. Oh, there's iron down there. Does my scanner not reach quite far enough to pick that up? Unless I'm misremembering very dramatically. Okay. Interesting. Okay, but now I can hit the numbers to dump stuff in. Okay. I don't know why I'm getting confused by this interface after dealing with it for so long, but there you go.
Milestone reached. Crude oil can now be extracted and refined to produce various industrially beneficial parts. The byproducts of these processes will require careful management, but a capable pioneer such as yourself surely understands that. To improve efficiency, pipelines can now be optimized with valves to limit and balance their throughput. These were initially left out because Fix-It did not want to overwhelm pioneers with complex pipeline management, but they have since been re-added after my impassioned defense of your capabilities.
Right. So yeah, that's a whole host of new recipes. Oil is a whole new world. But let's scan and see if we can pick that up anywhere. Imagine there's just none. Oh, okay, way out there. That is far out there, though. I think I just need to get onto oil, though, because that's going to be a requirement for everything. Rubber is an oil byproduct, or product, however you want to say it. And, so is plastic. Think. Oh, trains don't actually require any such things. Interesting. You require plastic. Ooh, I have all the ingredients I need for this right now, just not in enough quantities, specifically encased industrial beams. As I said, my production of those kind of sucks. I don't know how many motors that little line has managed to make, but computers for actual signals, though. Interesting. But that rubber is going to be a problem. I don't think I've ever found rubber. And yeah, it is produced from oil. Okay. So yeah, I figure I will start exploring over there. Oh yeah, these crashed freighters I want to get as well. Yeah, and I do feel like, as I've said multiple times, I do feel like I'm behind on quartz, because otherwise I would have access to this, the Explorer, which can be really useful. But for now, I'm just gonna forget about it. I do want to get out there and start finding some oil. That's going to be the end of today's episode. Thank you all for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one.